Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Football Talk. And today we have a big discussion here, and it is surrounding the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We finally know what our championship Sunday matchups will be. Final four is set. 4 teams were sadly eliminated this week, but we will discuss it all this week. How are you doing, Oliver?
I'm great. How are you, Casey?
I'm good. We saw a good 4 games, and only 3 games left this year of football, which is sad, but we got the 3 best games. All right, so we start with Packers versus Rams. The Packers won this game 32-18, and Aaron Rodgers was simply incredible this game.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers offense just looked unstoppable, and this was against the best defense in the league as well, which made it more impressive than it already was. Like you said, Aaron Rodgers looks like the MVP. He looks great, and he's playing out of his mind. And
Yeah.
the run game's unstoppable. The tandem with Jamal and Aaron Jones looks amazing. So I'm not sure who can stop this Packers offense right now.
Yeah, that dude is amazing. Aaron Jones, 14 carries, 99 yards. And then Williams, 12 carries, 65 yards. So, and then they also got A.J. Dillon making it maybe a trio. So that's a great run game. I don't know if all 3 will stay. Aaron Jones is a free agent. We'll see what he does in the offseason. But the Packers were amazing. I think Aaron Rodgers is the MVP now. I was maybe on the fence, Derrick Henry, but Henry wasn't very good last week in the wild card. So I think now Rodgers has cemented this spot. This Packers offense, though, was amazing on all parts, run and pass game. Devonte Adams getting them all together. And do you think this Rams defense was maybe a little bit too hyped up? I mean, they couldn't really stop this Packers offense.
I mean, I think the Rams defense has all the right pieces in place. I think it was just a poor performance and they're outmatched. Like I think they are in the discussion of best defenses in the league right now, but yeah, they might have been too hyped up because they did not look good.
Yeah, I mean, they really just couldn't stop any parts of that Packers offense. It was the best offense versus best defense, so the offense obviously won this one up. And the Rams offense actually wasn't too terrible. Jared Goff actually wasn't terrible. No interceptions, not too many mistakes, 200 yards of offense, plus 200 yards. So he played well enough. I think he runs the system well enough and under Sean McVay's amazing system. So do you think he's still a franchise QB? They don't have to move on. I don't really know.
I don't think they need to move on from him. They made a Super Bowl with him. It didn't go well, but I mean, if they can, I think they can get back to their 2018 form. But especially build around this defense and keep their pieces on offense. I think they're fine.
Yeah, with such a good coach like Sean McVay, they're going to be back. Their defensive coordinator just got hired though to the Chargers, which I actually thought we can get to that, but that was an interesting hire because I mean you got a young QB. I would go for maybe an offensive coordinator like Eric Bieniemy or someone, or the Bill coordinator, but they went for a D coordinator.
Yeah, I think maybe because the Chargers defense was kind of the thing holding them back last year. They went ahead in a lot of games, they just couldn't keep their leads. So maybe they trust in that offense and just need to focus on the defense. Maybe that's the reason. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So the Packers win this game. They are going to host a game at Lambeau for the first time in a long time. I mean, last year they hosted the divisional round, but they had to go to San Francisco and they lost the NFC Championship. So they're hosting the NFC Championship at Lambeau. Last time they did that, they won the Super Bowl. They beat the Steelers. I mean, it's crazy that Aaron Rodgers has only made won one Super Bowl. Can he be back and can he win it? We will see. He will play Tom Brady next weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a matchup for the ages.
Next game, Bills versus Ravens. This was Saturday night. The Bills, very defensive game. This is kind of surprising. 17-3 Bills. Bills Mafia is in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this game, I thought it was going to be a shootout. And then at halftime, it was 3-3? And I was like, okay, well, this is definitely a more defensive game. But, you know, the Diggs-Allen connection proves to be more lethal every week.
Yeah.
It honestly can't stop it seems like. And then for the Ravens, Justin Tucker missing 2 field goals. That was very odd to see because it never happens. And their offense just looked lost, and I think the Bills have a chance to make it to the bowl again.
Yeah, the Ravens defense did their part stopping the Bills offense. I mean, holding them to 17 is amazing.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
Been able to do that. So this Ravens defense did what the team asked of them. Harbaugh, definitely proud. I mean, they got some really good guys on that defense. Matthew Judon, I mean, all of those guys. Their secondary, too, is good. They couldn't stop Diggs, but they did shut down Cole Beasley pretty well. So
yeah, no one really had much success except for Diggs. And, yeah, you're right that Ravens defense
And
played
then
really well,
the
but
Ravens offense, Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's amazing in the regular season, and he was pretty good in the wild card, but he struggled. That pick six really cemented it, though.
yeah, I didn't think his decision making was great. He did a lot of scrambling in the pocket and trying to just run out of things, but then threw some bad passes. So yeah, his decision making wasn't great, and Buffalo capitalized.
Yeah, so it was 3-10, and he threw that pick six to Teron Johnson, and that would have made it tied. But instead it goes 17-3. That was the game. And then he got injured, and Huntley came in, and yeah, he was all right. But I mean, it was kind of over by the time Huntley came in. So Lamar Jackson, that pick six really ended it. And the Bills defense played well. Got to give them credit where it deserves because they actually outshined the offense on Saturday. Their secondary is amazing.
Yeah, their secondary is quite incredible, and yeah, I think um, the Ravens continue to perform poor in the playoffs. So I'm not sure when they're going to take that next step
Yeah.
to make the Super Bowl.
And it's hard to change anything because you're not going to get rid of Lamar. He's obviously an MVP QB. John Harbaugh's a good QB, so you kind of have to find it. I think one thing you could find is maybe a better receiver. Marquise Brown's
Yeah, I think
receiver.
that's definitely the emphasis because
Yeah.
Marquise Brown he's okay, but he doesn't with all his speed, he doesn't create separation too well. And then behind him, you got like Willie Snead, Devin Duvernay, Miles Boykin, people like them. They kind of need that number one receiver that they're missing.
Ravens are going to have a draft pick in the late 20s, so they're not going to be able to get like maybe any of the top dogs receivers. So they could trade to get maybe Smith, Waddle, one of the Jamar Chase, but I don't know if that will happen. If not, they're going to probably go for a late rounder, which is fine. I mean, there's some guys from Florida, Kadarius Toney, whatever. So they can find their guy. But the Ravens lose this one 17-3, and this Bills defense looks good facing the Chiefs next week.
Yeah, I mean, if Mahomes, I think the Bills win this game regardless. That's what I'm saying. But I think with Henny, I don't think it's gonna be close. So yeah, I think if the Bills defense played like they did versus the Ravens, I think they have a very good chance of making the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they did. They stopped all parts of the Ravens. I mean, they got Gus Edwards to under 50 yards, and he was their best rusher. And then the secondary stopped Lamar Jackson and the deep threats from their safeties are great. Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, and then their corners, Tre'Davious White, and then Teron Johnson was good. And yes, this Bills team is really looking good. And for Chiefs Browns, the Chiefs won this 22-17. Mahomes did get hurt though. That's the big storyline. Will he be back for the AFC Championship?
It was a scary injury. I don't think the hit by Mac Wilson was necessarily dirty, like some people are saying. I think it was clean, but just the way Mahomes went down, it was kind of scary to see him get up kind of woozy. Yeah. I think he will be back. They're going to need him, and so yeah, I hope Mahomes is okay, and I hope he's back. So we have a great AFC Championship game.
Yeah, Chad Henne led this team, that led the Chiefs to the win, and thank God that they actually benched Mahomes week 17 because Chad Henne got some experience that week. And besides that one deep throw interception, he actually did not look terrible. With that 4th and 1, very ballsy call by Andy Reid, but it ended up paying off.
Yeah, he looked great managing the game. He did what he needed to do, and yeah, that 4th and 1 to Tyreek Hill was clutch, securing the win.
And Williams shines. Playoff Williams with 78 yards. Nice job of him running the ball for the Chiefs without Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So hopefully he will also be back. Some questions. And for the Browns, I mean, they had a great season. I think they will be back as they're just starting off. Do you think they will be back?
I think they can be. Like, this was a very impressive year by them. Their offense is almost set. I think they need to add another receiver because of the fact that Odell Beckham can't really stay on the field and because of some off-field issues. They need to add another receiver with Jarvis Landry, and Donovan Peoples-Jones looked good though. And then I think they need some defensive help in the linebacker group and secondary, especially safeties, because Browns fans aren't too happy with Andrew Sendejo.
Yeah, they did not like the defense for the Browns. I think was they played all right yesterday, but I mean they struggled a little bit. Even in the wild card versus Steelers, the offense was amazing, and the Steelers almost came back because the defense wasn't that good. They had Big Ben throw for 500 yards. They got their secondary isn't the best. Denzel Ward's good, but the safeties need some work. And that touchback rule, I know Browns fans are not too happy about that. I mean, they lost by 5, so they would have won if that touchdown counted. I mean, it's crazy to me that Rashad Higgins was about to score and then he just fumbled the ball out of bounds, and then the Chiefs get the ball. I mean, that's just such a brutal rule for the Browns.
Yeah, well, there's two things wrong with that play. For Daniel Sorensen, it was a head-to-head contact that should have been called, and it wasn't reviewable for some reason. That needs to change. And as well as that rule where you fumble out of the back of the end zone, it's a touchback. That also needs to change. So, yeah, I think it definitely, hopefully, wakes up the NFL to change some of these rules.
Yeah, we see it in college all the time. They'll go and review it and call targeting and eject the players, but they didn't do it there. I mean, it was a good heads up play, literally by Daniel Sorensen there, but it was a good play. But it was a head to head contact. But I mean, if they didn't call it, he actually saved the Chiefs season maybe with that play. And
Definitely, yeah. They ended up losing by 5. That would have probably won the game.
And a lot of missed field goals from Harrison Butker, who's been a little bit inconsistent. He was great start of the year, but he's kind of inconsistent. So it wasn't the best year for it wasn't the best week for kickers besides Cody Parkey, which is surprising.
Yeah, especially the elite kickers in the league like Butker and Tucker missing field goals was kind of odd.
Yeah, moving on to Saints versus Bucks. The Bucks win this game 30-20, and Drew Brees, what a career, assuming that he will retire. I mean, Brees led the league in passing for 7 years and touchdowns for 4 years. He is most definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, phenomenal career. First ballot Hall of Fame, like you said. I wish he got another ring. He got that one in 2009, but yeah, I would have loved to see him go out winning. But
it is pretty crazy that the Saints had Sean Payton and Drew Brees for 15 years, and they only won 1 Super Bowl and only made 1 Super Bowl. I mean, that's crazy. I think like the AFC was obviously the dynasty was run by the Patriots. They were in the Super Bowl every year. But the NFC didn't really have a team that was just contenders every year and in the Super Bowl every year.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it is surprising. The Saints always had a good regular season team, and kind of got a victim of unluckiness in the playoffs, I could say. Like Minneapolis Miracle, the pass interference play against the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. So, and they can always use that as an excuse if they want, the Saints fans.
Yeah, but their performance in the playoffs hasn't been great.
And last year losing to Minneapolis again at home in a wild card.
Yeah.
This year losing again. I mean, I think the Saints fans, sadly, they don't have much to look forward to in the future now that Brees is gone. Their cap space is not good at all.
They're gonna have to make a lot of cuts. I'm not sure if they can field the roster anymore. I think this was kind of their last chance, and I think it's kind of time to start over in New Orleans, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I think all the eggs were in the basket this year. This was like the last chance, and then they're rebuilding again. Yeah. And if with Drew Brees, it's almost better if he retires because it was kind of obvious he was not the same this year. He struggled a little bit. The age was a factor, but you don't want to cut Drew Brees or anything. You don't want to trade him. You kind of want him to retire as a Saint. So it's almost better. 40 years old, amazing career, retires, and the Saints can start over. I think, is Winston the Saints' next QB or Taysom Hill even, or do you go for a draft? Maybe take someone like Kyle Trask or Mac Jones in the late first round.
I think you stick with Winston, actually. I mean, we both know that Winston has a lot of talent. It's just in Tampa Bay, his decision-making was not good at all. But I think under the right coaching staff, which he will have in Sean Payton, he can be a good quarterback in this league. And weapons aren't an issue. You know, you have Michael Thomas, consensus top 5 receiver in the league.
Yeah.
And then you can be lenient on the run game with Alvin Kamara, who's locked in through 2025 with his extension. So, yeah, I actually stick with Winston, but if they don't feel that he's fit, maybe draft a guy late first round or second.
Yeah, it is crazy that the Saints, Michael Thomas didn't have a single catch yesterday. I mean, he's top 5 receiver, but that maybe has to do a little bit of Drew Brees or Michael Thomas. But yeah, that Jared Cook fumble kind of messed up the Saints' momentum there and did not look good for the Saints. But great season again for the Saints. Once again, they're one of the best NFC teams in the playoffs, but they just come short. And for the Bucks, can they beat the Packers? I mean, they looked good.
I mean, if they play as good defensively as they did against the Saints, I think they can. They just have to stop that offense, like we said. Um, I mean, the young guys on that team played so well. Antoine Winfield, Devin White.
They made some
Um,
plays, yeah.
they made some big time plays. They forced turnovers when they needed them. I was very impressed by that Bucks defense. So if they can play like that against the Packers, why not? And we both know not to doubt Brady in the playoffs. So who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah,
Brady
the Bucks defense looked amazing actually the first time they played the Packers. They made Aaron Rodgers throw a couple picks and a pick six. Like that
Oh
was
yeah,
Aaron
they
Rodgers'
beat them.
first game. Yeah.
Yeah, they came back and won that one.
Yeah, so the Bucks look good. Their run game shined too with Fournette and Ronald Jones. That's a nice duo as well. Both of them over 50 yards.
Yeah, I mean this Bucks offense is just star-studded all around. Their offensive line is great too. Tristan Wirfs has been outstanding rookie year. You have the wide receivers. Godwin has not impressed me as much in this playoffs. He's
Yeah,
had a
his touches
bit of
went down
drop
too.
issues. Um, Antonio Brown's not getting that many targets, but Mike Evans looks good. Scotty Miller looked good. Even
Yeah.
Tyler Johnson had a nice catch.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then the tight end duo with Brayton Gronkowski is obviously great. The run game looked great. So I think it's just they have all the talent in the world, and I think they can be a great team and make the Super Bowl. But it's just if they want to go out there and play.
Yeah, this team is stacked, and I really think the most underrated part of this team is probably their O line.
Yeah,
They got their center Ryan Jensen, very underrated player. Ali Marpet,
yep,
big having him back at guard, and then Tristan Wirfs is probably, if O line got the credit they deserve, definitely one of the best rookies, and maybe even in contention for rookie of the year.
yeah,
Probably the best offensive line rookie.
yeah, definitely. He's been great, along with Jedrick Wills, Michael Onwenu, uh, Andrew Thomas has been okay, but yeah, I was actually very impressed by this rookie class O line.
Yeah. So the Bucks Packers, we will see it next week, along with the Bills versus the Chiefs, two amazing games. And that is it for the NFL recap. And we will move on to on Monday, a week ago, we saw Alabama versus Ohio State, and Alabama crushed Ohio State 52-24.
Yeah, I mean Devonte Smith was outstanding. Uh, Mac Jones played a great game, and that Alabama defense was outstanding. So uh,
Yeah.
Alabama is doing what Alabama does and is absolutely dominant every single year. And
Yeah.
Ohio State was no match.
Mac Jones was flawless. I mean,
Yeah,
he may be in so many weapons around him and an amazing coach and system run, but he was flawless, and he may be a first rounder now. I think he actually definitely is a first rounder.
yeah.
And you're a Pats fan, Oliver. Would you want Mac Jones, or would you not feel comfortable with Mac Jones and you would rather have maybe someone else?
I mean, I wouldn't be angry if we chose Mac Jones, but I feel like there's I feel like quarterback. Like we need a quarterback, but I don't think it's our number one need. We need offensive weapons. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't be mad at it, but he's not like my first pick.
Yeah, and he obviously has Devonte Smith, who maybe had the greatest wide receiver performance we have seen ever in our lifetime, and
Yeah,
I've seen in a long time personally. This is just the first half: 12 receptions, 215 yards. That is video game numbers. I mean, that's the first half. Hopefully, he recovers from that injury he had in the second half. But the fact that he was on pace to have 430 yards is crazy.
yeah. I mean, he just ran right past the Ohio State secondary. They looked completely lost, and he just found the holes in their defense, and Mac Jones found them, and it was unstoppable.
Yeah, for Justin Fields, he had a great year. I mean, he didn't play amazing in this game, but I think the Jets will still take him at 2. The Jets just hired actually Robert Saleh,
Yeah.
defensive coordinator from the Niners, and the Jags got Urban Meyer, Ohio State old coach. So I mean, maybe he could take Fields at 1. I don't think so though. Lawrence is still the better prospect, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you raise a good point. That could happen, but um, yeah, I think Lawrence is definitely the pick. And Jets at 2. Uh, after that national championship game, you see a lot of hype about Devonte Smith even going number 2. Penei Sewell, you go Justin Fields, like you said. So there's a lot of options at 2 for the Jets, considering the Jaguars take Lawrence.
Yeah, Sam Darnold and Devontae Smith could be a nice two
Yeah,
weapons right there. We'll see though. So draft order right now, as we kind of just talked about, Jags, Jets. So we're assuming Lawrence Fields, and then the Dolphins at 3 is a huge pick. So they had the Texans pick. They got it from a Laramie Tunsil trade. So the Dolphins could go Jamar Chase. They could go Devonte Smith. They could even go quarterback. I don't know. Tua was good, but it's rare that you're in this good of a position as a team and you have the 3rd pick. You could trade for Deshaun Watson and trade your pick, or you could go for Penei Sewell. So they got a lot of options at 3.
Yeah, I think if you're them, you take Penei Sewell. Offensive line is probably the biggest need on the team. They were very impressive last year, and I feel bad for the Texans. Honestly, they don't have their first round pick after a abysmal season. So
that is a terrible feeling, because if you're losing like that, you can be like, oh, at least we have an early pick, but the Texans don't even have their pick. That is a terrible feeling. Their future, especially if they lose Watson, it's not good. And if I'm a coach, I don't know if I want to coach the Texans.
I wouldn't. I mean, Deshaun Watson is a nice piece, but I mean, hopefully, someone else besides Bill O'Brien in charge, they can start to turn things around. But yeah, it's not looking good for the Texans. I feel bad for their fans.
It's actually an interesting hire too by Alabama. They hired Bill O'Brien as their offensive coordinator, which, I mean, could be interesting. I think Dan Quinn should be hired as a defensive coordinator, just because he's such a defensive mind coach. I mean, I would take him on the Niners, even though we have an expected hire, but still, interesting.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Falcons, they have the 4th pick. I think Matt Ryan, he's still good. He had a lot of yards this year, but a very sackable quarterback, one of the most sackable QBs in the league, not the most mobile guy. I think maybe you got to take Zach Wilson or Trey Lance there, or you could go corner or something.
Yeah, I was going to say Zach Wilson. I think that's perfect at 4. Falls right into their hands, and he can be their quarterback for the next decade or so after Matt Ryan. I think, Julio Jones is still playing. Calvin Ridley's still playing. They could also go with Devonte Smith if he's still on the board, or Jalen Waddle and get the 3 Alabama receivers together.
Yeah, they could also go with like an edge, like Kwity Paye or something, or Micah Parsons at linebacker if they need.
So someone like that.
They have a lot of options.
Yeah.
And then at 5, lastly, the Bengals. They are a must take for Penei Sewell if he's on the board, if the Dolphins would take him. And if the Dolphins do take him, that's a harder decision. Maybe go corner or still take a lineman, just someone worse than Penei.
Yeah, I think Penei Sewell's an obvious pick if he's still available. They could go wide receiver. They could go corner. They could do a lot of things. Offensive line is definitely the big need. But so if Sewell's not available, that's rough. So they might need to either trade down or just reach down the board for offensive linemen. But that's definitely the pick.
Yep, I agree. All right, and off topic from football, we are football talk podcast, but we're versatile here. So, Oliver, who is your we'll talk a little bit about NBA, which just started. Oliver, who is your NBA sleeper playoff team this year?
Mine's actually the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, they're 6-8 right now. They're sitting at the 8 seed. So if the playoffs ended today, they would be in. But I really like this team. And especially in a few years, I think they're going to be near the top of the East because they have a lot of veterans like Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward who played together in Boston, as well as young pieces like LaMelo Ball, Devontae Graham, PJ Washington, Miles Bridges. They have so many young pieces on that team. I think they're very fun to watch, and they're my sleeper team.
Yeah, that's a young team. Those are always exciting to watch. And you got the veteran leaders. That's perfect. I think they could be a playoff sleeper as well. LaMelo Ball being a good draft pick, I think. And for mine, I got the Golden State Warriors. They were not very good last year, but they were good before. And right now, they're also the 8 seed. In the West, though, they're sitting at 6-6. And I think Curry's obviously played amazing this year. Oliver, of course, And James Wiseman looks to be a pretty solid pick at center, too. So the Warriors are having a good year so far. I think they will sneak in. They're competing with the Grizzlies for the 8 right now. And even the Mavericks have the same record as them. So they've had some good wins, also some bad losses, but they've been close in most games.
Yeah, they started off the season 0-2 with 2 bad losses and then started to pick things up. I think they played a few bad teams like the Pistons and the Bulls, and they needed to get their groove back there. Kelly Oubre has been poor, but I think if he steps it up, this team can be good because I really like their play off the bench with Pascal, Looney, Damian Lee. So, yeah, I like the Warriors as well.
Yeah, everybody in the starting lineup has been pretty good except Oubre. Wiggins has been good. They've all been good. Oubre just got to step it up a little, but he's been a bit better lately.
Yeah.
And for the draft, which just happened, who's your biggest bust so far this NBA season?
I got Killian Hayes out in Detroit. I mean, he's injured right now. He's out for the season. But in the time that he played, I think he was shooting 25% from the field, 20% from three, with like 4 assists per game. And I think he didn't play in college. He played overseas, and so I thought he was going to be very NBA ready when he was drafted. But his playmaking hasn't been what people thought it was going to be, and he can't score the ball to save his life. So Killian Hayes is my bust, and especially because he's out for the year.
Yeah, taking someone overseas is always a very risky move. It could end up being terrible, not terrible, but not good, like Killian Hayes or Dragon Bender, someone like that, or Mario as we saw. Or it could end up being amazing, like Porzingis or Luka Doncic. So it's a hit or miss, but it's a risk that can be worth taking.
Yeah.
And for my biggest bust, I sadly have Obi Toppin. I mean, I really liked Obi Toppin coming out of Dayton. He was a great player at Dayton. And I even wanted the Warriors to take him or the Kings to take him, as I like both those teams. But he ended up going to the Knicks. And he hasn't played much this year, and he's only averaging 5.8 points. So do you think Obi Toppin can turn it around? Because I do hope he does.
I think he can. I mean, I think they picked him. I mean, he's 23 years old. I think they picked him to be an immediate impact, and he hasn't been that. I mean, to be fair, he hasn't seen the court too much, but I think he can definitely turn things around. But I just don't think New York's just a great system for any young players. That's kind of every pick they have, the player doesn't really seem to turn out. But I think Obi Toppin could definitely be a great player, but he needs to turn things around.
Yeah, that next team is in the playoffs right now, sitting at the 6th seed, 7
Yeah,
and 8.
Julius Randle's playing out of his mind. He's playing like an MVP candidate, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, wow. All right, so that concludes our show for today, our divisional round show. We will see you guys next time. So, yep, we would like to thank Sarah Bennett, producer of the show, and hope she goes off well. And yeah, see you guys next time, and enjoy the last 3 games of football.
Thank you.